afternoon, everyone. We're pleased to welcome Mr. Samir Limaye, full-time director at WIMCO Limited, a fully owned subsidiary of ITC. With over 36 years of experience spanning industrial packaging machinery, smart automation, and factory operations, Samir brings a rare combination of hands-on engineering expertise and strategic leadership. A production engineering graduate from the University of Nagpur and a postgraduate in international management from IMI New Delhi, Samir has held high-impact roles across leading firms including ITW Signore, Cosmo Films, and now WIMCO, where he has driven automation and modernization since 2006. Samir's deep expertise lies in high-mix, low-volume production environments, helping Indian MSMEs adopt cost-effective, flexible automation that balances agility with productivity. His work integrates industrial sales, project management, team leadership, and resource optimization, making him a valuable guide for businesses navigating today's demand-variant market. He has also served as president of IPMMI 2018 to 2020 and held leadership positions with key industry associations, further cementing his role as a champion of manufacturing excellence in India. Today, he'll offer practical insights, case examples, and strategic guidance on how MSMEs can harness smart automation to transform their operations. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Samir Limaye.
It's really a pleasure and honor. Thank you for having me.
So we'll quickly jump on to our questions. And my first question to you is, can you share a real-life example on an MSME in India that successfully adopted smart manufacturing or automation for high-mix, low-volume production? And what was their journey like?
Sure. I think when it comes to MSME in India, I will restrict and highlight my experience with, to a large extent, food, beverages, cosmetic consumer care, or pharma industries, where we have been doing many projects in the past. Whether it is a standalone machine related or a complete line related automation or the entire enterprise related, we have seen many companies having done these automation and mechanization in a phased manner. Without naming, I would like to highlight during the phase when the industrialization or manufacturing due to the fiscal sites in Baddi, Haridwar, Goa or Silvassa, many companies evaluated possibility of mechanization and along with that low-hanging fruit like automating equipments. But going forward, as we discuss, I'll try and highlight more about companies and the examples.
Sure, sir. So my second question to you is, in your experience, what are the most common misconceptions MSMEs have about automation, especially when dealing with varied and small batch sizes?
So how it happens, Amrita, is historically most of the companies have been having human labor doing many activities. If we split our entire conversation into, let's say, manufacturing on the shop floor, post-manufacturing, let's say the warehousing, logistics, and the storage related things. First and foremost, misconception is the cost. Second is whether me as a company owner will be able to align everyone with that. Third, whether there is a payback, because my sizes are small. Most of the micro and small enterprises, they have small batches. The volumes are small. So these three remain misconception, and I think over a period of time, people have overcome these glitches and hitches, and now people are adopting.
Now, sir, can you tell us when an MSME is dealing with project-based customization, can they benefit from flexible automation tools? And are there any on-ground examples that can help our attendees?
So, I may not be able to articulate more on the construction sector per se, but we have seen many MSMEs, those who provide equipments and machinery for project execution or construction or FMCG industry. I think flexibility is most important when it comes to micro and small enterprise, because the nature itself, by nature, they do not have long runs. I think in terms of automation tools, it can be simple accounting related, it can be simple logistics or transportation related, it can be simple, let's say, sales and the distribution related. But these are important, and we have seen many companies adopting and getting benefit of that.
And in your opinion, sir, how can low-cost automation technologies can shop floor teams adopt today without waiting for heavy capital investments?
Actually, in a phased manner, companies must adopt, and we have seen. My personal observation with some companies has been, first and foremost, they need to look at their as is, where their current processes are. Because many times people try to adopt off-the-shelf automation or kind of a solution which can help them. They think so, but they end up having difficulties. So it's better to have on the ground, as is, where is evaluation of the processes, the handoffs, and it is possible to start with small, but companies will have to keep in mind whether it is from an Indian vendor or from an international vendor partner, ability to upgrade and ability to retrofit must be there. And if they do not evaluate that aspect, what happens is that the investment becomes redundant in very short time. So I think evaluating the process in the current context, where they want to go in near future, and possibility to retrofit and upgrade. These three things are important.
Right. Now, so how does automation impact the role of workers on the shop floor? And if you have any examples where it has helped them elevate their skill sets rather than replace them?
Oh yes, I think this is very important. After all, let's see, it's not possible to completely ignore human element, whether it is men or women doing shop floor activities or in the warehouse or storage or during logistics. Fear definitely sets in the moment you talk about simple solutions like even the conveyors or pick and place arrangement. Automation need not be only in the form of electronics and PLC. The automation along with mechanization can also have some impact on the workers. Coming to the skill development and skill upliftment, certainly I think not only the fatigue and the drudgery involved in doing human work goes down, they are able to interact, and mind you, today's generation is tech savvy. Everyone uses a smartphone, so their interface with the PLC or an automation and a mechanized arrangement is not very difficult. In fact, it helps them.
Correct. So for an MSME that produces, more than 10 different products in small batches at a time, how should one prioritize which process to automate first?
So actually, it's more to do with how the layout has been designed. It's true that a typical Indian micro and small enterprise is struggling on multiple fronts, right from let's say having enough space on the shop floor, and sometimes the cell type or the process type layouts or based on the customer whom they are feeding, the set of machines which are placed. When it comes to a standalone machine level, I think prioritization is definitely possible in terms of which equipment or which machine tool is churning out what output and what kind of a data or capturing information is required. It's a journey. Prioritization can be done with the simple tool of using an 80-20 analysis. A Pareto principle guides you in terms of whichever are the pain areas, you must try and automate that first.
So we've often heard that automation fails, and how do we, sort of navigate that situation? So can you describe a situation where automation failed in an MSME due to poor planning or selection of tools, and what can us learn from that?
I agree with you. I think so. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, I think the inadequate business process review or understanding of the current processes and where that organization wants to go, if it is not evaluated properly, and we believe that there are simple tools, whether it is at enterprise level or whether it is at an equipment level or whether it is at a complete department level, we have seen errors, problems like data entry or the initial upload of information, be it for the stores department or for the quality. We have seen in the sales department when the CRM or some kind of a automation was utilized, or for tracking spares. These are common mistakes done at the time of uploading the data, entry of the data, what type of reports you want to take out from that automation. These are the standard common mistakes which companies have made, and I think there is a possibility to review it at the time of initial stage so as to avoid these mistakes.
So moving on to AI and IoT, what role do you think these tools play in streamlining production planning for high mix, low volume operations? And are these practical for small businesses?
I think, we talk about Industry 4.0 in the manufacturing sector. My personal experience with food, pharma, cosmetics, or nutraceutical industry. Going forward, needless to say, IoT based tools are going to be very, very important. But as of now, I think most of the companies are at a stage where they are struggling to upgrade their generation 2 or a generation 3 machines to be in line with Industry 4.0, which will take some time because there is a huge capex required. At the same time, training of human resources, and it's not easy. I don't think it is a product mix or the batch size or the changeovers. I think what is also emerging is the run sizes are becoming smaller, and the volatility in the market is too much for an entrepreneur to handle. At the same time, the old generation machines are still not having those sensors or PLC or servo motors or cameras which can capture information, and then you can take advantage of IoT. But going forward, I see definitely artificial intelligence not only for the standalone machine, but for a department, for decision making, and IoT based tools will play a major role in coming decade.
Now, so how do you balance standardization for automation and customization, which is to do with core high mix production? Can you provide an example of a case where this trade-off was successfully managed?
So, I think for an entrepreneur who's running a micro or a small enterprise, securing order and large volume order and continuous order and market access remains the first priority. Most of these entrepreneurs are one man or a one woman managing the entire show kind of a situation in India, a family run business in most of the cases, which is actually good. And the tooling, or let's say the packaging, or let's say the documentation, or let's say some amount of processes during the manufacturing phase or fabrication phase can be standardized. I think customization we have seen only in those industries where one-off cases or project unique tailor-made equipments or tailor-made solutions are developed for a turnkey. So those are very different. So there is no trade-off as such, I would say. I would say that these are two distinct situations. But even in turnkey and highly tailor-made customized solutions or equipment or the manufacturing, they have standardized their processes. So I would say it is possible, but these are two distinct animals. One company or enterprise dealing with production of same component, large quantity, and then there are turnkey and customized equipment or solution providers having very low quantity.
Right. Sir, talking about hidden cost, what should MSMEs be aware of? What are these hidden costs that the MSME should be aware of while considering smart automation solutions for their businesses?
Oh yes, I think first and foremost is training. Training, alignment of the resources. I think MSME need to set aside anything from, let's say, 6 months to 12 months to 18 months time for a designated team which will drive this if they are doing in an entire company. The cost of that sometimes is overlooked. The change in the hardware, I think the storage and the servers, in terms of the machine upgrade, as I mentioned a few minutes back, there are a lot of costs which generally get overlooked, and we only end up talking about the ERP cost, or let's say take example of mechanization and automation on a shop floor. We generally talk about only the conveyor or the pick and place direct cost, but there are so many other indirect costs which usually get overlooked, and entrepreneurs and companies must spend a little more time to see the overall cost, the life cycle analysis, and also I think streamlining this, because automation, whether it is for the factory or for an enterprise or for a standalone machine, it is not a journey of 1 or 2 months or 6 months. It's a longer than that. So I think those costs must be factored in.
Now, so with your over 3 decades of experience, you have seen automation setups evolve over time. Can you give us an example of how an automation improved turnaround time or reduced error in a high mix production setup?
Definitely. I think needless to say, there is a tremendous realization post-corona. One, because of the affordability, second, attitude, and availability of resource. Mind you, Amrita, we are in a country with 140 crore population, but still one question which bothers Indian MSME is resources, human resources, and a competent, good human resource. So I think the realization that there is a payback if you invest in automation, mechanization for factory, shop floor. In fact, even for the warehouse and godowns, as it used to be called earlier, or the logistic parks, as it is called today. I think people are aware that there is a payback, there is a turnaround time advantage. there is a reduction of wastage, there is a overhead cost saving. All this results into saving of money. Bottom line improves, and hence companies have gone ahead and started investing in automation. I can very safely say, whether it is cosmetics industry or whether it is food and beverages or pharma industry, where I have my large exposure thanks to my work experience, have not shied away from investing in automation, and it has definitely helped them, because ultimately all of us have only 24 hours in a day and 365 days in a year, and everyone is looking to crash the time in terms of turnaround and time to market.
Moving on, sir, when we talk about partners and vendors in automation, how should MSMEs evaluate technology partners or automation vendors, especially when they have limited internal tech knowledge?
I do agree. I think that's also a big challenge when it comes to micro, small enterprise, because many of them do not have in-house resource who is competent to evaluate. But I think people, process, and the platform, it is possible to take benefit from few consultants or do benchmarking with some other industry neighbor who's gone through this journey. Most important is, I think, the processes, and I think which type of a tool or a platform, whether we are talking about a CRM, purely for business development team or for the service team, or if it is being used for the entire organization, for the enterprise, be it an Indian made software or a European company providing software. There are very large companies from Europe and US. I don't want to name them, but I think the processes need to be mapped. Human resources, their role and their current activity and the future activity needs to be mapped, and only then companies must look into a technology partner. What we have done in the past is to actually seek help by visiting some of the companies, interacting with them, going to the different departments, taking along with you your own team members always helps, because let me be very honest, ultimately it is a team which implements. So whether it is a stores in charge who's accustomed to doing Bahi Khata register entry, and now suddenly we are asking him to adopt to a barcode or RFID or handheld terminals, and he will upload it in a particular ERP. He need to be very comfortable with this. But I think in our social or in our ecosystem, we see so many simple automation technologies in a day-to-day life, be it in a shopping mall or be it a railway station or airport, or in the large corporate buildings. So people are becoming aware, and it is possible to select the correct technology partner through this intervention.
Noted, sir. So moving on, in the context of Indian MSMEs, how important is it to align automation efforts with government schemes or subsidies? And have you seen this being used effectively?
I think, honestly, a lot needs to be done. In India, to a large extent, government subsidies or capital-related, schemes, funds or loan or capital-related or, equipment-related subsidies, those schemes are popularly adopted. I personally would feel, I think the quality as a subject or innovation as a subject related adoption should happen more. Indian MSME has a strong possibility to be something like what European large economies like Germany or France have a family-owned micro and small enterprise. I think it is possible to align, but honestly, I have not seen too much MSME entrepreneurs leveraging the use of automation by aligning with government schemes. I think government schemes are to a large extent focused for capital or some kind of a subsidy or some kind of a, or market access. Let's say they want to promote a product in Latin America or Africa. So the schemes are focused more from that point of view. But I wish going forward, entrepreneurs also look at innovation and the quality, because we need to capture the global market.
So now for the most basic of automation, also we need some kind of education, some kind of training. What kind of training is necessary for shop floor workers when introducing even the most basic smart automation tools for them? And do we have an example where training made all the difference for them?
I think to a large extent, Indian shop floor or manufacturing human resources are tech savvy, thanks to all of them using smartphones, using computers, using a lot of devices and gadgets during their day-to-day interaction in society. Talk about standalone equipment, having a PLC and servo, having some SCADA connectivity, having, let's say, connectivity with the ERP. I think our Indian worker, men as well as women, are very comfortable. Needless to say, when you are adopting a tool or a particular ERP or a system which is, let's say, camera based or some kind of a pick and place robo or some kind of a PLC based, some basic trainings are required to be given. But I don't think these are big issues. Our Indians are fellow Indians are smart and they pick up very quickly, and it is actually for their own benefit. We've seen training refresher courses after having run 12 or 16 months or 18 months a particular thing on the shop floor. There are suggestions from the workers, and then you need to check and change the program in the machine or for the entire line where we are packing or manufacturing. So I think our Indian workers are quite alert, and I don't see this as a major issue.
All right. So how can a business owner convince their team or traditional workforce to embrace automation, especially in a setup that's been manual for decades?
Yeah. So the biggest inertia is the human brain, and we can move machine, we can move money, we can move material, but moving human brain, I do agree. But I think first and foremost is to get over the fear. And we have seen in the earlier period, say about 20 years back or 30 years back, when we used to approach a company, even a large company or a multinational company for automation or mechanization, the first set of fear used to be, do I end up losing job? Is it going to make me redundant? Which is a very natural response from the worker or the supervisor. I remember when the computerization was happening some 40 years back in the Indian Railways, there used to be a concern that it will lead to job loss. Something similar is being discussed today when we are talking about a decision-making tool, which is artificial intelligence or generative AI. Will it mean we'll lose job? But I think an explanation to them that all these are aid these are going to help. These are tools which will improve productivity, reinforcing that by taking them around and showing in some companies where actually these automation or mechanizations have been adopted, will make sure. I also see the average age of a worker on the shop floor or a supervisor and a manager in a classical Indian manufacturing setup, as well as the gender. See, you see many girls on the shop floor today, many women. The average age is going down. So I think the fear is not there. Going forward, I don't see too much of a problem when it comes to convincing. But yes, in case there are old people, they may have this fear that will it. I think it's also got to do with the ability to learn and adapt.
True. I absolutely agree with you, sir, on that one. So moving on, what kind of data should MSMEs track before and after automation to measure their impact? And can you cite an example of such measurable improvement?
No, I think an Indian entrepreneur is smart. Needless to say, the cost accounting is the first input and output is the first thing which he or she is concerned about, whether it is in a legacy situation where things are handled in registers and in a manual way, or even I would say in an Excel sheet, because I think companies graduated from that to Excel sheet, and then there has been a very large Indian company, a well-known brand name for accounting software. So I think cost accounting in real time, capturing the data, stores, issues, consumption, wastages. I think these are the measurable, very simple areas where any entrepreneur or MSME owner is looking at. And there is a lag effect. We've seen there is a lag effect sometimes in the initial phase of 6 to 12 months. The data entry operators or the people, those who are actually manning or managing the terminal. So there is a lag effect. I think when it comes to equipment and all, the power consumption, air consumption, downtime, uptime, I think the time to market, let's say spare part management, let's say service engineers travel to various sites. The automations are being used in different departments today. And most of these suites which are available, whether it is ERP, homegrown or from the overseas, or a simple automation, they have these features to create log, and they can be customized also. So I think once it gets registered, logged, and then the analytics is available, the entrepreneur actually sees a benefit of that on the dashboard.
So we've had a lot of MSMEs come back to us asking us about tools and methods that they need to adopt when they're integrating smart automation in their project management. Can you help us with some of these?
See, again, I think it will be not appropriate for me to name the companies and the brands, but it will be different. Let's say within manufacturing, it's a large spectrum, you see. A need of a pharma will be different from, let's say, an engineering company or light engineering company. Even in services, let's stay with warehouses and the logistic park. Their need for automation and mechanization will be very different. So, as I said earlier, we need to evaluate the as is where is situation, and only then it will be appropriate to suggest in terms of what type of a tool. But I can tell you there are low-hanging fruits. There are Indian developed in India suites available, automation, factory automation, as well as office automation. And when I say office automation and the business automation, I don't mean the equipment like photocopiers and the computers. I mean the automation which can help the processes. But I don't think we can generalize at this stage. But specifically for each company and segment, the tools are available, and there is a long list of but I don't want to name those brands and this thing, but I'm sure our Indian entrepreneurs will be able to smartly check and find out.
Now, sir, how feasible is automation for small manufacturers who are relying on contract laborers, and what has worked in real life scenarios for them?
No, see, I think contract labor, or if I may put it this way, human resources on the third-party payroll, whether it is small or large company, whether it is an Indian company or a multinational, compliance is a compliance. So it's only a methodology by which you have hired resources, those who are not on the payroll of your own company. But compliance, whether it is risk, whether it is compensation, whether it is facilities, everything have to be at par. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Now, to be very specific to your question, see what happens, we have seen in some of the manufacturing factories in Baddi, Haridwar area, where an operator or someone who's manning or managing a particular station in an end of the line packing area or manufacturing area, absenteeism can be an issue. So those challenges are there unless until these resources are dedicated and there is a replacement or reliever. Otherwise, I mean, there is a risk of missing out on something. Non-availability of resource can be a risk. Wrong training and lack of training can lead to improper data entry if there is a human intervention involved. So those are actually challenges, and we have seen that. So typically Indian micro and small enterprise, they will not risk by putting contract labor or workers on third-party payroll on these critical stations.
So we know that order patterns are changing frequently with the dynamic market scenario. How does automation affect flexibility and responsiveness in a volatile market? And are there any examples where it has helped MSMEs remain agile?
Volatility is order of the day. Honestly, I think let's not talk about those, the political as well as unrest on multiple fronts, product consumption, and those volatilities are also there. Responsiveness, see, I think from a point of view of automation, chatbot, or let's say there are simple, recording equipments which we used to have some 10 years or 15 years back, or answering machines. I think these low-hanging fruits are definitely going to help. And we have seen in CRM suites a lot of simple automations which can help customers, which can help the enterprise in terms of responding fast, quickly, agile, 24/7, and without losing much time. There are Indian homegrown companies, those who are providing solutions for customer interface, and it definitely helps. I can safely say, and the payback is very quick. MSME will be surprised data capture and response to customer complaint management. I think MSME must look at these because many of our Indian MSMEs are serving global market and it can be a wonderful game changer. So please look at various simple solutions like chatbot or various types of automation which can help you manage your customer relationship area.
So my last question to you for the session today is, if you had to suggest just one automation tool or a platform for a beginner level manufacturing MSME, what would it be and why?
No, again, as I mentioned, I think I will resist the temptation of naming any brand. That's not appropriate. But I think from an accounting point of view or from an enterprise point of view, there are Indian companies, those who have excellent 2.5 decade of experience in giving a economical suite which can be useful for a 5-10 crore size or a 20-30 crore size turnover company, which is end to end. It can take care of the stores, it can take care of the manufacturing, it can take care of the sales and distribution, accounting, as well as customer. So there are brands, homegrown brands also doing extremely well, cloud-based, server-based, handheld terminal accessibility or accessibility through computer and laptop. As I mentioned, I will resist my temptation to name these brands, but I think these are very economical, and I can tell you that the payback will be much faster than what entrepreneurs think. But first and foremost is that companies must have a medium-term and long-term vision and clarity how they see their own organization growing and evolving. Because if that is not there, unfortunately, many times the entrepreneur is struggling on a day-to-day matters and he's not able to set aside time for a little more ideation and visioning. But there are platforms available, there are tools available. Companies need not look at overseas large multinational software companies. They can look at Indian companies also, and they are extremely effective. And I have seen in the printing industry, packaging industry, wonderful tools being adopted, solving day-to-day transaction-related problems in a very nice way. So please explore. I would advise to MSME owners, on your own, get confidence, go and visit some of these sites where they have implemented. These vendors, partners will be too happy to take you to actual sites where they have implemented and take a decision.
So with that, we've come to the end of today's episode. It's been my honor to conduct this webinar with an industry stalwart like you. Thank you so much for being with us today, sir.
Thank you, Amrita, and thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure to share the experience. Thank you.
For our attendees who are online, if you'd like to view the current episode, if you've missed any part of the current episode, please go on YouTube, type GSW1 MSME, and you will find all the episodes uploaded there. Thank you once again, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you.